This is Ryan Sanders with Project Fresh. I'm the owner of Project Fresh, and for over the last 13 years, I've helped people take control of their health, optimizing performance, and building sustainable habits that stick. As a certified strength and conditioning specialist and certified sports nutrition coach, I've worked with everyone from athletes to busy professionals, coaching them through the real world experiences and challenges of fitness and nutrition. Here, I share their stories, lessons, and strategies that make long term wellness possible. So, with that being said, today's focus for our live is to share with you guys that we have a new Fresh Exec program that we're launching. We're in the pilot process of that right now, reaching out to some different previous clients and, different clients and friends of ours who we know that are in fitness. The whole premise of this is a monthly program to bring you up to that optimized position, specifically as a busy professional, men, so you can be corporate, entrepreneur, whatever you're doing as far as work, busy schedule, wife, kids, families, church, I should say family, church, and hobbies, anything else extracurricular that you have. The whole premise is to assist you with keeping your health going, not at the sacrifice of all the other things, and all the other things not being sacrificed at the expense of keeping your health going. Okay. So the Fresh Exec program, very specifically, is something simple. It's really simple. We're just focusing on two things within that demographic. I'm going to show, starting last Friday, going into this Friday, I'm going to show how simple it is to see some quick and early wins with your body as far as your body composition, your energy, your mood, your cognitive ability, if you don't want brain fog or want mental clarity, gut health, those kinds of things. Really simply, we're just showing two different things on how you can start to change those around without too much else to do or to add to your schedule, if you will. And that's walking and making sure you have enough protein. So walking sounds very simple. In fact, I think sometimes it might be easy to complicate it based on how simple it is. Is it easy to get in the right number of steps that are going to be impactful? Not always. If you're in a chair and consistently doing all of your work from a chair, let's say you're sitting in your chair 20, 30, 40 working hours a week, obviously that's going to take away some of the time you have to be able to get out and get a walk in. There's different things that can make it a lot more manageable to accomplish. If you have an indoor walking pad or treadmill, that's an option. A lot of the walking pads are very cheap these days. There's a lot that are in the 100, 200 range compared to the traditional treadmill, which can be, easily getting over $1,000. I mean, I'm sure there's some that are cheaper for treadmills, but the walking pad's a lot lighter. It's like 50, 60 pounds. Still holds, depending on what model you get, a weight that can be 200, 300 pounds, depending on where you're starting as far as body weight. And with that being said, I mean, I look for one that needs to be at least 260 because I'm at about almost 240 right now with the Olympic training that I'm doing. So anyway, with that being said, walking isn't always easy, but it is simple to do as long as you're not dealing with any injuries or anything that would prevent you from walking on a regular basis. You happen to have a dog, that helps as well, unless your dog just likes to stop and sniff. And I'll just caveat, if you do have a stop and sniff kind of dog, go ahead and do that walk with your dog, then take Fido back home and go out, keep those shoes on, and go out and get yourself a quick walk. And the second caveat to that is it's not about how long you walk, it's about how quickly you walk. The higher the pace, the more intensity the walk is, still low impact. And of course, that will help get your heart rate moving. I like to try to stay in zone 2. If you don't know what that means, you've got 5 different heart rate zones that you can track on your watch. You just simply type in 5 heart rate zones and figure out where you land. Typically, a peak heart rate is 220. The number 220 minus your age gives you your peak heart rate. And then every 20 beats per minute gives you a zone. So 220 minus H is peak, minus that's 20 is zone 5, minus 20 is zone 4, minus 20 is zone 3, and so on. So zone 2 is great. If you can pop up into zone 3 a little bit, fantastic. Just another caveat for walking. Switching gears, moving over to protein. Dr. Peter Attia, who we had the opportunity to hear from last year when we were at our conference in Dallas, the conference with one of our partners, Shackley, great company that we've been working with. They've had some great speakers this year. They had Dr. Gabrielle Line, who covered this topic as well. But over the weekend, Dr. Peter Attia dropped a post and for all of his newsletter subscribers about protein and the RDA, the recommended daily allowance of protein, how that is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, which equates out to 0.36 grams per pound of body weight, and how that is not enough. If I had to do a TLDR, too long didn't read, I would say in summary that current RDA, which is the one that was established back in like the 1930s, testing college men, which is not indicative of all the different demographics that are here in the United States or just in general, right? We've got people who are older, we've got women, we've got elderly, we've got other, kind of special cases, but on the average, is nowhere near close to all the different demographics. It's outdated, and he was getting at the fact that there is probably an underwhelm to a certain extent in how much you can get in protein. And that's not just to be a gym bro and get a lot of muscle tissue. What you have to realize is that protein doesn't only assist with the muscles or the muscle fibers, it's very important for cellular health and a lot of different key cellular functions. Proteins break down into amino acids. Each of those different amino acids have their own specific function. Let me see if I have that up here. Show you really quick. I don't know if I can go super fast, but if I can share my screen with you guys, I'll show you. There's 20 common amino acids. You've probably heard branched chain amino acid before. It's a style of an amino acid, but there's 20 key amino acids that I'm sharing here today that are important for building blocks of proteins in living organisms. And of course, these amino acids are key for all kinds of different things for taking care of the body. So the primary one that you'll hear me talk about is leucine. That one is very, very key for its function of activating protein to utilize it as we need. 2.5 to 3.5 grams of leucine, which you can find in about roughly 20, 25 to 30 grams, maybe 35 grams of protein, up to 40. And that's based on what is the quality of the protein that you're eating. So obviously, first and foremost, your foods are going to be your best, most quality proteins. Beef is really a great option for quality proteins when it comes to amino acid profile. Chicken's not bad. Pork is okay. Fish is good. And then, of course, if you're going to be supplementing with those, of course, I know there are people who like to do like rice and bean combination. You've got like your hummus and pita bread combination. Those kinds of things are fine. A little bit harder on the vegetarian side, on the vegetable vegan side, just because those don't have as many amino acids in them as a meat-based protein would. And so with that being said, this is basically because meat is muscle. Yeah, more or less. And so that being said, I've never really said it that way, so I had to think about it for a second. But ultimately, that's really key to get these amino profiles in, especially the essential ones. So leucine, for example, is one of the essential amino acids, meaning it's not something that our body produces, so we need to ingest it for us to be able to have it and utilize it. Non-essential is our body can't produce it from other means, and so we don't necessarily need to ingest those like we do the essential ones, the essential proteins. Some of the essential ones, other than leucine, are isoleucine, valine, tryptophan, histidine, lysine, and there's some other ones too. But anyway, long story short, I don't need to sit here and read you a list of amino acids, but I do want to encourage you that that RDA for protein is not high enough. Our actual RDA, because if you translate zero point 0.8, where are we at for time? I need to hurry up and wrap this up. If you translate 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, that translates to 0.36 grams per pound of body weight. So if you're 100 pounds, that's 36 grams of protein. That is survival. That is bare minimum. That is just enough to keep things going. That is not enough to even get into what you really need. And so a true amount would actually be more like 1.7 or 1.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, so which translates to about 0.8 grams per pound of weight. I usually like to say per pound of ideal weight. Okay, that's that far behind. Per pound of ideal weight. So for me, 230. So I'm looking at 215 to 230 grams. Well, 225 actually is my ideal weight. So 215 to 225 grams of protein per day for me to have the right amount of protein for protein synthesis, so that I'm not in a catabolic state and burning up muscle, that I'm having the appropriate cellular function based on the lean mass that I have, which is over 200 pounds of lean. So I'm at around 34, I think right now, 34 pounds of fat. So that leaves the rest for lean mass. That's your muscle tissue, water, bones, organs. That's considered lean mass, everything but fat, basically. My muscle tissue, I think, is at 194. So I'm 194 pounds of muscle. That includes the water that's in the muscle. But effectively, I need that protein to keep those muscles, those cells, those mitochondria functioning at optimal. And so that being said, this Fresh Exec program is going to give you programming guides and different things in the format of school. So we'll be gamifying as well, which I'm looking forward to utilizing to keep people consistent. I've got clients who I can run through 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and they're like, Ryan, I got it. Thank you for the results. High five, see you later. And I've got clients who are like, if I don't have you scheduled, if I don't have some kind of connection point with you through the week, the likelihood of me doing my workouts, me eating well, is going to come down substantially. And so with that being said, if this is something that would be very beneficial for you, I would highly encourage you to come join us in our Fresh Exec program. We'll be hosting it on school. I believe that I have the link. In fact, what I should do is go ahead and link that here for today's video. I'll drop it in the chat so you guys can see it in the chat, and then I'll make sure it's in the description as well. But for now, this is the oops, that's not what I wanted. I just dropped my my Zoom link. That's not what we want. Come on. So anyway, this will be the link to it. It's going to be piloted for the first part of the program. So pilot means complimentary free access, but for just a period of time. Those that enter will be asking for your feedback before we go ahead and move on. This has been Ryan Sanders with Project Fresh. Really appreciate you guys tuning in to our Monday Lunch Live that we do every Monday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll be back next week for our next one. Actually, it's Labor Day next week, so we will actually be in the woods. If I happen to think about it, I might pop on and do a quick live. But if we don't catch you guys next Monday due to the holiday for Labor Day, then I hope you guys have an excellent week this week as well as next week, and we'll catch you for our next Monday Lunch Live. All right, we'll see you.